This is Caden Robb's Week 5 assignment submission for Dr. Bob Barrett's Sustainability and Crisis Management class at American Military University. Today's agenda covers an in-depth discussion of crisis management, starting with a clear definition of the three phases of a crisis. We will explore the importance of learning from the experiences of other organizations and analyze 5 suggested best practices for effective crisis management. To bring these practices to life, we will examine real-world examples of companies that have successfully or unsuccessfully navigated crises. Finally, we will wrap up with a summary of the key points covered and provide references for further reading. When most people think of a crisis, they imagine something catastrophic. While we will be covering such events in this presentation, it's because those are the kind of events that get written about and are easy to find sources on. With that said, anything that threatens a company's reputation or bottom line is a crisis. It could be anything from a fire in the warehouse to an employee injury during routine operations to the death of a key shareholder to a terrorist attack to a global pandemic. The three phases of crisis management are pre-crisis, crisis response, and post-crisis. While these may seem straightforward at first glance, they involve much more than just a sequence of events. As we often say in the Marine Corps, failing to plan is planning to fail. In an ideal world, crises wouldn't happen and everything would go smoothly. However, we know that that's not reality. Since things will inevitably go wrong, the pre-crisis phase is critical for identifying the most likely threats and planning appropriate mitigation strategies. This preparation allows a company to avoid being blindsided and to respond swiftly and effectively. During the crisis response phase, the firm must implement its pre-established plans and maintain clear communication with stakeholders. Finally, in the post-crisis phase, it's essential to evaluate what worked and what didn't, using these insights to update and strengthen further contingency plans. Fortunately, we don't have to navigate the complexities of crisis management alone or reinvent the wheel when preparing for potential challenges. Countless organizations across various industries have already faced a wide array of crises, ranging from product recalls to public relations disasters and even large-scale operational breakdowns. Each of these instances provides valuable lessons for companies willing to study them. By analyzing how other businesses have reacted to adversity, both successfully and unsuccessfully, we can gather critical insights and strategies to inform our own crisis management plans. While making mistakes is inevitable, it's far more efficient and less costly to gain knowledge from the experiences of others, especially when poor handling of a crisis could be an existential threat to the company. One of the most important best practices in the pre-crisis phase is conducting thorough risk assessments. This involves identifying vulnerabilities within the organization before they can escalate into a full-blown crisis. By carefully evaluating potential risks, companies can implement strategies to mitigate or even prevent crises from occurring. A powerful example of the consequences of failing to do this is BP's handling of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. BP's inadequate risk assessment and lack of proper safeguards led to one of the worst environmental disasters in history. Had they identified the weaknesses in their safety protocols early on, they might have avoided the spill or at least minimized its impact. This illustrates why a proactive risk assessment is a critical first step in any effective crisis management plan. Another crucial best practice in the pre-crisis phase is the development of a robust crisis communication plan. Effective communication can make or break a company's response to crisis. A well-prepared communication strategy ensures that clear, accurate, and timely information is shared with all stakeholders, from employees to customers and the media. The goal is to maintain trust, transparency, and credibility during high-stress situations. A great example of this is Johnson & Johnson's handling of the 1982 Tylenol crisis, where they immediately communicated with the public and issued a recall after discovering their product was tampered with. Their swift, transparent response helped regain consumer trust and set a benchmark of how companies should handle crisis communication. This shows the power of a strong communication plan in maintaining a company's reputation, even during a crisis. In the crisis response phase, having an immediate action plan is crucial for minimizing damage and restoring stability as quickly as possible. The plan outlines clear, decisive steps that the organization must take once a crisis hits. A fast and organized response not only reduces the impact of the crisis, but also helps to maintain confidence among stakeholders. A great example of this is Southwest Airlines' swift action during the 2019 Boeing 737 MAX crisis. When the aircraft was grounded globally due to safety concerns, Southwest, which had a large fleet of these planes, immediately responded by reworking its schedules, communicating with customers, and ensuring minimal disruption. Their fast, organized action helped limit the fallout from the crisis and showed how a clear action plan can make all the difference in managing a crisis effectively. Another key practice during the crisis response phase is maintaining transparent communication. In times of crisis, transparency is essential to building trust with stakeholders, from employees to customers and investors. When organizations provide clear, honest, and timely updates, it helps to reduce uncertainty, manage expectations, and preserve their reputation in the long term. A company that struggled with this was Toyota during its massive vehicle recall starting in 2009. The recall involved millions of vehicles due to unintended acceleration issues, and Toyota's slow, unclear communication caused confusion and panic among customers, ultimately damaging their reputation. This situation highlights the importance of transparent communication, as a lack of it can amplify the negative effects of a crisis. Being upfront and honest can significantly improve how a company is perceived during and after a crisis. Once a crisis has passed, the post-crisis phase is just as important as the initial response. One of the best practices in this phase is conducting a thorough evaluation of how the crisis was handled. This involves reviewing every aspect of the response to identify what worked well and what needs improvement. Post-crisis evaluations are crucial because they help organizations learn from the event and refine their strategies for future crises. A strong example of this is Starbucks. After facing public backlash for an incident where two black men were arrested in one of their stores, the company took immediate steps to evaluate their handling of the situation. This led to the implementation of company-wide diversity training and changes to their store policies. By taking the time to assess their actions, Starbucks not only recovered from the crisis, but also strengthened their corporate culture and reputation moving forward. Post-crisis evaluation ensures that organizations grow from their experiences and are better prepared for the future. These notable situations have highlighted the value of learning from the experiences of other organizations. BP's Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010, marked by inadequate risk assessment and slow, often opaque communication, became one of the worst environmental disasters in history, demonstrating the severe consequences of poor crisis management. In contrast, Johnson & Johnson's handling of the Tylenol crisis in 1982 served as a benchmark for effective crisis management. When cyanide-laced capsules led to a nationwide recall of 31 million bottles, the company's swift, transparent actions and introduction of tamper-proof packaging helped restore public trust. The 2019 grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX also highlighted the importance of quick, decisive action. Southwest Airlines, which had a large fleet of these aircraft, acted rapidly to revise its schedules and communicate with customers, thereby minimizing disruption. Conversely, Toyota's delayed response during its massive vehicle recall crisis, which involved millions of cars due to unintended acceleration issues, led to widespread confusion and damage to its reputation. Lastly, Starbucks faced significant backlash over a racial incident in one of its stores, but their post-crisis response, implementing company-wide diversity training, illustrated how a thorough post-crisis evaluation could lead to a meaningful change. From these diverse incidents, several crucial lessons emerged for effective crisis management. Proactive planning and risk assessment proved essential, as demonstrated by Johnson & Johnson's preparedness during the Tylenol crisis. Transparency and communication was equally important. Johnson & Johnson's openness helped regain public trust, while BP's and Toyota's failures in this area worsened their crises. Quick, decisive action during a crisis, as seen with Southwest Airlines' response to the 737 MAX groundings, was vital for minimizing damage and maintaining stability. The importance of learning and evolving post-crisis was exemplified by Starbucks' implementation of diversity training after their racial incident, underscoring the value of thorough evaluation and continuous improvement. By integrating these lessons into their crises management strategies, organizations could better anticipate, respond to, and recover from crises, ultimately enhancing their resilience and safeguarding their reputation.